We welcome all of our junior limousine exhibitors. We will have our show get underway. We will start off with class number 1. This is Division 1 of limousine females. We will have in this class entry 1947 from Tyler Thomas of Sterling, Colorado. Evaluating our cattle within our limousine show will be Miss Brittany Kramer. She will have the honors of selecting all of your champions for the 2026 Junior Limousine Show.
Well, what a way to start our limousine show over here. And just a single entry, but a really high quality female in her own right. She's long and extended through her front 1/3. I appreciate when this female gets out and goes. She meets her track. You watch her from behind. She's square in the way that she goes and how she handles her hock. I think this is a really high quality female. We'll see her back out here in our drive. Congratulations.
Results for class number 1 of your Division 1 limousine females. First place and your champion is going to be 1947 from Tyler Thomas. We will now bring up our next division, which will be Division 4 of limousine females. This will be class number 2. Class number 2 will have a single entry, 1948, coming from Aaliyah Wick of Buffalo Center, Iowa. Date of birth on this female is going to be February 21st of 2024. And we want to welcome our South Devon Junior Show exhibitors to the ring. And the ring at this time is now Class 201. These are heifer calves, calved January 1st of 2025 and or after. We'll have a single entry in this Class 201. This is entry 2611, coming from Macy Ann Hansen of Fall Creek, Wisconsin. Evaluating our cattle today within our South Devon Junior Show is Miss Casey Vollmer of Mills, Wyoming.
Another single entry on our Lemmy side, and a female that's very, very fresh in her condition. I appreciate that about her. She's a female that's good-footed. We get her out here, and if I could change her a little bit, I'd rock her back in her knee ever so slightly. But I think that's a really nice, productive female. We'll see her back out here in the drive.
Results coming in from Class 201 of your South Devons. First place is 2611 from Macy Ann Hansen of Fall Creek, Wisconsin. Within your South Devon show, we will now bring up Class 201A of heifer calves. These will be heifers calved January 1st of 2025 or after. We will have entries 2612 from Lauren Zabel of Pella, Iowa. 2613 from Lindsay Strach of Fairchild, Wisconsin. 2614 comes from Kelsey Zimmer of Bay City, Wisconsin. And 2615 comes from Brady Mitchell, which is a donation heifer. This is Class 201A. Over within your limousine show, we have in the ring at this time our division champions. Our judge will select your grand champion and reserve grand champion limousine females.
Well, as we get ready to select our champion Limousin female, not a lot in numbers, but the quality has certainly been very good. The heifer that came out of that first class, one we talked in her class about how long and extended she is through her front 1/3. I really admire this heifer when we get her out. I know she's fighting you on the move, but the way that she flexes, she does that very well. A female that's got a lot of rib shape to her. If we wanted to pick on her just a little bit, we could make her a little stronger behind her shoulders, but I think that's just because she's green in her condition and still a calf. The heifer that came out of our next class, the yearling heifer directly in front of me, one that is super long-bodied. We talked in that class about how fresh she is through her front 1/3. We also mentioned that if I could change her, I'd rock her back and her knee and her shoulder. She wants to get a little upright, but I think these are two very, very good females. I'm going to go ahead and use the young lady's calf to be champion. The yearling will be reserved. Congratulations.
Results coming in for Class 201A of your South Devon show. Fourth place, 2613, comes from Lindsay Strach. Third place, 2614, from Kelsey Zimmer. Second place was 2615 from Brady Mitchell. And your Class 201A winner was 2612 from Lauren Zabel. We will now bring into our South Devon show ring Class 201B. These will be heifer calves calved January 1st of 2025 or after. We'll have a single entry within Class 201B. This is entry 2616 from Jane Damon of Pella, Iowa. Results for Class 201B, first place, 2616 from Jane Damon. At this time, we'll now bring back our class winners from Classes 201, 201A, and 201B. Our judge, Miss Casey Volmer, will now select your champion of reserve champion junior heifer calves. Over within your Limousin show, we have paused for a momentary picture break at the backdrop with our champions. Your grand champion Limousin female was 1947 from Tyler Thomas. Your reserve champion Limousin female was 1948 from Aaliyah Wick. We'll get started off with our Limousin show. We'll move right into our Division 1 of Lim-Flex females as soon as those photos are done. We'll start up with class number 3. Your champion junior heifer calf within your South Devon show in the Poundmaker divisions, entry 2612 is going to be your champion. That is Lauren Zabel of Pella, Iowa. Your reserve champion junior heifer calf comes from 2615. That is Brady Mitchell. We'll go ahead and reset our ring for our Poundmakers in the South Devon show ring, and we'll bring up now Class 202. Class 202 will be senior heifer calves. These heifers were calved August 1st through December 31st of 2024. We'll have a single entry within Class 202. It'll be 2618 coming from Jillian Kneep of Mount Ayr, Iowa. This is the only entry in the class and the only class in the division. So first place in Class 202 will become your champion senior heifer calf. And we are now underway on the Limousin show ring. We have now in the ring Division 1 of Lim-Flex females. This is our first class, class number 3 in the program. We'll have 2 entries that make up this class. 1950 comes from Harper Torgensen of Artesian, South Dakota, and 1952 comes from Tyler Thomas of Sterling, Colorado. Results for your junior Poundmaker heifers, Class 202, first place, and your champion senior heifer calf is entry 2618 from Jillian Kneep. We'll reset our ring and bring up now Class 203. These will be summer yearling heifers, calved May 1st through July 31st of 2024. We'll have 2 entries that make up this class. 2619 comes from Owen Kelm of Wauseka, Minnesota, and 2620 comes from Brady Mitchell of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. This is the only class in its division, so therefore first and second within Class 203 will become your champion and reserve champion summer yearling heifers.
Really interesting class to start off our Lim-Flex, and just May heifer calves here. And I'll tell you kind of what I see in these two. I don't think there's a perfect one out here. If we can combine some things about both of these, I think it would do them both really well. The heifer that starts off the class, one that is super feminine and ladylike about her front 1/3. I love that about her. Where she wins today is when we set her in motion. She's more comfortable at the ground than the heifer that's in second. She's flatter in her shoulder design. She's not as pulled apart in the center part of her body as the heifer that's in second. But again, we're talking May heifer calves. I think that's a really nice place to start. The high-performing, big, massive, stout heifer is the one that comes in two, one that's a little bigger framed, one that I'm not saying she's bad-fronted. She's just not as refined as our heifer that wins. She's super bold in terms of the center part of her body. When we set this one in motion, she's not as comfortable, especially on that left hind leg when she wants to get out and go as our class winner. But I think both of those heifers are two very, very good females that on down the road will be fun projects for these exhibitors. Congratulations.
Results coming in for Class 203 on your Poundmaker heifer show. Second place was 2619 from Owen Kilm. That also becomes your reserve champion summer yearling heifer. And your class winner and champion summer yearling heifer is 2620 from Brady Mitchell.
We get into our next class on the flex side, and just a single entry April female, but one that commands your attention, a female that is extremely long-bodied. Some may question if she's a rib too long, and I hate using that term, but she is extremely long-bodied, but she does that and she balances so well in her undercarriage. She's a female that you study her. She's big bone, big-footed. I appreciate that about her. She could be a little quick-looking, but I think that's being awfully hard on a female that's got a lot of really unique breeding pieces about her, got some performance and stoutness from behind. She'll be a fun one to get back out here in the drive. Congratulations.
Results for Class 204 of your junior yearling heifers within your Poundmaker show. First place, 2621 from Lindsay Strach of Fairchild, Wisconsin. We'll get our ring reset and bring up now Class 204A of junior yearling heifers. Within this class, we'll have two entries. 2623 comes from Carly McCracken of Alva, Oklahoma, and 2625 from Jace Peterson of Pella, Iowa. Over in your Lim-Flex show ring, we now have in the ring class number 5 in the program. We have entries 1954 from Trotter Thomas of Sterling, Colorado, 1955 comes from Kyle Rule of Stillwater, Oklahoma. 1956 comes from Addison Kilm of Wauseka, Minnesota. And 1957 comes from Ben Spencer of Gibbon, Nebraska.
Well, over here on our flex side, I think it's kind of just a one-horse race in this class. This female that starts the class off, super smooth and flat in her shoulder design. She's elegant about her front 1/3. She's one you step in behind her, and she's got enough power and width like I like. Just a really high-quality female to start. Gets a little closer between 2 and 3. The heifer that comes in second is stout-featured like our class winner, and that's what gets her in that hole today. She is feminine about her front 1/3. She's just not as big and bold about her bone and footwork as the heifer that wins the class, but a really high-quality individual. The female that comes in 3, extremely long-bodied, cowy in terms of her center body design. I appreciate that about her. She's not as long and extended through her front 1/3 as the heifers ahead of her. And then when we step in behind her, we could square her up in her pin set, and I think that helped that one a good deal. But that's a really high-quality female that I think will be a nice brood cow. Long-bodied red female to close out our class, one that just gets too steep on both ends of her skeleton. We need to rock her back and relax her in her structure to get her any higher. But a nice class of February females. Congratulations.
Results coming in for that Class 5 of your Lim-Flex show. Fourth place was 1956 from Addison Kilm. Third place, 1955 from Kyle Rule. Second place, 1954 from Trotter Thomas. And your class winner was 1957 from Ben Spencer. At this time, within your Lim-Flex show, we will now bring back our class winners, and our judge will select your champion and a reserve champion Division I Lim-Flex female. Your champion junior yearling heifer in your Poundmaker show comes from Class 204A. That is going to be 2625 from Jace Peterson. Your reserve champion summer yearling heifer is going to also come from Class 204A. That is 2623 from Carly McCracken. At this time, now within your Poundmaker show, we will bring back all of our division winners, and our judge, Ms. Casey Vollmer, will select your grand and reserve grand champion Poundmaker junior heifers.
So we get ready to select our calf champion over here on the flex side. This is a very impressive set of females out here. The female that came out of the first class, we talked about her in terms of just being a May and being fresh in her design. She's a female that I think has a lot of future about her. She's extended through her front 1/3, very ladylike up there. She's a female that balances well. A female, though we get her back out here, she might be a little shorter from her hooks to her pins than those behind her, but I think that female has a world of future about her. The young lady in the white that's circling in front of me, that heifer that came out of the second class, we talked about how long spine that female is, and I appreciate that about her. You know, and we're talking real world cattle production, length means pounds, and young lady, this thing's gonna make you some money whether you're raising show cattle or you're going out and you're making feeder cattle. This female is really well balanced when she gets her parked. I appreciate when we study her in terms of her bone and her footwork, just a really nice female. She's maybe not as long fronted as the heifers on either side of her, but I don't hold that against her because I think that's a really high quality female. And then the female that came out of the last class, one that just commands your attention when he gets her parked. She gives you a really nice look from the side. She's really elegant up through her front 1/3. You study her in terms of her shoulder design, from her shoulder to her knee. Her angles are right. You step in behind this female and she's got a lot of power and width about her. I'm clearly one to show my cards. That one's going to be your champion today. The one in front of her is going to be your reserve. Congratulations.
Over in your Lim-Flex show, your champion for your division came from Class 3, which was Class 5 in the program. That is going to be 1957 from Ben Spencer. Your reserve champion came way of Class number 4 in the program. That was 1953 from Brenna Bartlow. Your champion is 2625 from Jace Peterson. That's your grand champion Poundmaker junior heifer. Your reserve champion Poundmaker junior heifer also comes from your summer yearling division. That is going to be 2623 from Carly McCracken. At this time, within our South Devon and Poundmaker show, we will pause, I believe, for a momentary picture break at the backdrop with our exhibitors. And then we'll move right in and move right along into the junior South Devon heifers. We'll start up with Class 101 of heifer calves. We're now back underway over in our Limousin show. This is our Division II of Lim-Flex females. This is going to be class number 6 in the program. Class number 6 has an entry, 1958, from Alyssa Slimmer of Sablesville, Maryland. This is the first and only entry in this class.
Single entry and a November female, one that is, I told the young lady, she's fun. She's one that when she gets her park, she gives you a really nice look from the side. You watch this one get out and go, and she just floats around the ring. I think she's a real high quality female. She'll be fun to get back out here and match up against the others within this breed. Congratulations.
Results for class number 6 of your Division II Lim-Flex females. First place 1958 from Alyssa Slimmer. We'll now clear out our ring and make way for class number 7. Class number 7 will have 2 entries. They consist 1960 from Gabrielle Miner of Stratford, Missouri, and 1961 comes from Savannah Larson of Interlochen, Florida. Those are your 2 entries that will make up class number 7. Class 7 is the last class in its division. After this, we will have our first and second place entries come back and return for our judge to select your champion and reserve champions.
The young lady's heifer directly in front of me is going to go ahead and win the class, and one that I think just in terms of overall look and design surfaces to the top quite easily. She's a female that when she gets her park, she gives you a really nice look from the side. She's long-bodied. We could change her in her knee structure and rock her back. I think she wants to get a little upright, but I think in terms of this class, that one surfaces to the top quite easily for me. The heifer that comes in too, one that is really good in terms of her body design, one that gets a little shorter through her front 1/3 as compared to the heifer in front of her, maybe a little rounder out of her hip, but 2 really nice females in this class. Please give them a round of applause.
Results for class number 7, second place 1960 from Gabrielle Miner. And your class winner was 1961 from Savannah Larson. We'll now take back and bring into the ring class 7 and 6 winners. Our judge will select your champion and reserve champion Division II Lim-Flex females.
So we get into our fall division here. The heifer that came out of that first class in that division, one that when I described her in that class, I said she's fun, and she is. When you get her parked, she gives you a really nice look from the side. She's one that ties in really well at the top side of her shoulder into her neck. She's long-bodied. When this one gets out and she goes, she moves so easily and so freely. I appreciate that about her. We study her in terms of her bone and footwork. I think that one is adequate. I think she's got good enough bone structure and foot about her. The heifer that comes directly behind her, one that is extremely long-bodied as well. She, like the heifer in front of her, is elegant and refined about her front 1/3. You step in behind her, she's got enough power. We talked in that particular class, if we could change that one in terms of her front knee structure, I think it would help her a good deal. These are two high quality females. We're going to use a young lady in the black to be your champion. Young lady behind her will be your reserve. Congratulations.
Your Division II Lim-Flex female champion is entry 1958 from Alyssa Slimmer. Your reserve champion comes from Class 7, that is 1961, from Savannah Larson. Up next in the program would be Division 3 of our Lim-Flex females. We'll start off with Class number 8. Class number 8 will have entries 1962, coming from Allie Sorensen of Spanish Fork, Utah. This is the only entry in the class and the only class in its division. So first place within class number 8 will become your champion, Division 3 Lim-Flex female.
Single entry over here, and a May female that she's just brood cow written all over her. This one in terms of her center body and her rib shape, I love that about her. You get in behind her and she's got some power. A female, she gets her parked and she gives you a nice look from the side. Young lady does a nice job showing her. She'll be interesting to get her back out here and get her against her contemporaries, but I think that's a really high quality female that deserves a round of applause. Congratulations.
Results for class number 8 on your Lim-Flex females. First place and your champion, Division 3 Lim-Flex female, is entry 1962 from Allie Sorensen. We'll clear out our ring for our Lim-Flex show, and we will bring up now Division 4. These will be Lim-Flex females. We'll have a single entry within class number 9. Class number 9 will be 1968 from Savannah Larson of Interlochen, Florida. Want to welcome back our South Devon exhibitors. In our show ring, we now have Class 101A of heifer calves, calved January 1st of 2025 or after. We have entries 26-27 from Jillian Kneep, 26-28 from Kelsey Zimmer, 26-29 from Jillian Kneep, and 26-31 from Megan Feldbaum.
Another single entry, but this young lady's doing a really nice job with this female. This is a female when she gets out and she moves. She's super sound, one that is super cowy in terms of her center body design. She's one that, and I'm not going to hold it against her too much, but she's one if we could strengthen her in her loin ever so slightly, I think it would help her. But at this stage of the game, we're talking January bred females. She's good and pregnant here, and I think this female is just really high quality. She'll be a fun one to get back out here in our drive. Congratulations, young lady.
Results for Division 4 of your Lim-Flex females, class number 9. First place and your champion for Division 4 is going to be entry 1968 from Savannah Larson. Within our Limousin show, Lim-Flex females, we will bring back all of our division winners, and our judge, Miss Brittany Creamer, will select your champion and reserve champion Lim-Flex females. We'll take the time to introduce our judge real quick, Brittany Creamer. She is a 5th-generation Angus breeder from Montrose, Colorado, where she and her family own and operate Lazy JB Angus. She's deeply rooted in the ranching industry. Brittany has combined her heritage with a passion for agriculture that spans both the national and international stage. She's a proud graduate of Oklahoma State University, holding a bachelor's degree in agricultural economics with a minor in Spanish, as well as a master's degree in international agriculture. Professionally, Brittany serves as a territory manager for Farah Diagnostics and Biologicals, makers of therapies, which I use it and it's a good product. It's covering 6 western states and working closely with livestock producers across the region. We appreciate Brittany judging and evaluating our Limousin show. Now we'll hear from Miss Casey Vollmer. Results coming in for Class 101A of your junior South Devon heifers. 4th place was 26-31 from Megan Feldbaum. 3rd place, 26-29 from Jillian Kneep. 2nd place was entry 26-27, also from Jillian Kneep. And your class winner was 26-28 from Kelsey Zimmer. Moving about the ring this time for your junior South Devon show is Class 101B of heifer calves, calved January 1st of 2025 or after. We'll have entries 26-32 from Paige Feldbaum of Swanville, Minnesota, 26-33 from Joseph Hanfler of Little Falls, Minnesota. 26-35 comes from Trice Vandermolen of Pella, Iowa, and 26-45 comes from Eddie Winters of Zumbro Falls, Minnesota. That is your entries that will make up Class 101B. And as promised, in the ring at this time now for your Lim-Flex show is now all of your division winners. Our judge will select your Grand and Reserve Grand Champion Lim-Flex females. And we took time to introduce Brittany, but we'll now move over to our South Devon judge. That is going to be Miss Casey Vollmer. She's originally from Casper, Wyoming. Casey attended Casper Community College on a full-ride judging scholarship, where she was never out of the top 10 in reasons during her junior college career. She then transferred to Colorado State University, where she was on the 2012 Reserve National Champion team. She was a high individual overall for the sheep and goat division and 10th overall in reasons. She finished her bachelor's in meat science before agreeing to work on her master's degree in the livestock behavior and welfare with Dr. Temple Grandin. One of her most proudest career accomplishments was being recruited straight out of graduate school to help run a startup pork processing plant in Sioux City, Iowa, beginning at 5 head processed to now 21,000 head of hogs processed each day. She now runs her own taxidermy business in Casper, Wyoming. It is important to her that at each show she has the opportunity to judge. Each kid can learn something valuable to take with them on their future endeavors. We appreciate Ms. Casey Vollmer evaluating our South Devon shows.
Well, what a way to kick off 2026, and it's truly been an honor to get to sort through your junior Limousin show this morning. It's any time that the National Western calls me, I'm humbled to get the opportunity to sort, but it's even more so this time as we get to be some of the first to step foot in this new facility. And it seems like it's been a long time coming, but what a beautiful building it is, and what a testament to the future of our industry. The National Western, it's rich with history, and for me, it's personal. In 1952, my grandfather actually showed here in the Catch-A-Calf program. And I still have his 15th place ribbon that I display in my home very proudly. This is also the place where my parents met. So as a Colorado girl, this ground is foundation for me, honestly. And so today, coming here, it hasn't just been a job for me. It's been like coming home. So thank you to the National Western, thank you to the Limousin Association, and more importantly, thank you to the exhibitors. I know that we didn't have a lot in terms of numbers, but my goodness, the quality has been super, super deep. And to you families and exhibitors and fitters in the back, I want you to know that 9 times out of 10, I'm on the other side of this mic, and I understand the sacrifices that you make to be here, both financially and time, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity. I wasn't going to go through and talk each of these heifers individually, but I think they deserve that. And so I apologize to the breed on the other side, but the heifer that came out of our first class here, one that was super smooth in terms of her shoulder design, her agility when she gets out and she moves is awesome. She balances well in her undercarriage. I think that one is going to be a really, really fun breeding piece for that young exhibitor. If managed correctly, I think that one has a world of future about her. The heifer that came out of that next division, one we talked about, when she gets her parked, boy, she gives you an awesome look from the side. She is probably the most unique about her front 1/3 of the heifers out here. We study her, we get her back out here. If I could pick on this one, and this is nitpicking, I'd pick her up in her pins just a little bit. I think it would help that heifer level out a little more and give her a little more punch and power from behind. But to be that elegant, it's hard to have more power and be that pretty. The heifer that came out of the next division here, this May female, you want to talk about brood cow and bull maker and just one that I think is a generator for this young exhibitor. I think that heifer's rib shape is awesome. I think her power is really good. Is she the most refined about her front 1/3 as compared to the heifers on either side of her? No, but for me, honestly, I don't hold that against her because, again, if you know anything about me and anything about the cattle that my family raises, we service more the commercial man than we do the show ring. And so real world beef cattle is really what I like, and I appreciate that about that female. And then the bred heifer that comes out of the last division, one that just looks cowy in terms of her center body. She too was sound when we set her in motion. We talked in that particular class/division if we could change her in her loin, I think it would help her. But I think that's being awfully picky on a female that has a lot of really good qualities about her. And I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute, and I'm going to tell you that I was at a show in November, and a judge got on the mic, and he said, I know heifer people don't like talking power and muscle, and I have to disagree with him. And I think if you're out here and you've looked at this lineup and you've seen the cattle that have risen to the top today, you'll know that power, width, muscle, they're important. They're important in the show ring, and they're important when we take these halters off and we go and we try to make these things cows. And I think all the females that are out here right now are ones that will generate for these young exhibitors. So I just want to leave the juniors with one more thing, okay? And then I will let you continue on that side. Guys, success isn't defined by one single moment in the show ring. You know, it's defined by the times that nobody sees. And you've heard it before, the late nights, the early mornings, the disappointments, right? It's a saying that's been said many, many times. That's where champions are made. But the truth be told that not everyone's going to walk out of their show ring career with a banner, but each of you has the opportunity to have a banner-worthy work ethic, and I promise you that will get you further in life than any backdrop photo ever will. And so if I could encourage you to do anything, it's to concentrate on your work ethic, because the real prize in showing livestock is the personal growth that you're going to achieve. So again, thank you for the opportunity. If you would, please put your hands together, and I'll go show you which champions I like best. Thank you.
Some results to get to over in your Lim-Flex show. Your grand champion Lim-Flex female was just crowned. That is 1957 from Ben Spencer. Your reserve grand champion Lim-Flex female was 1962 from Allie Sorensen. So congratulations to our Lim-Flex female champions. We will pause within our Limousin show for pictures at the backdrop, and then we will roll right into our next program for our limousines. Results to get to over in your South Devon Junior Heifer show. Results for Class 101B. Fourth place was 2633 from Joseph Hanfler. Third place was 2632 from Paige Feldbaum. Second place was 2645 from Eddie Winters. And your class winner was 2635 from Trice Vander Molen. In the ring at this time now is going to be your class winners from classes 101A and 101B. Our judge, Ms. Casey Volmer, will select your champion and reserve champion junior heifer calves. Your champion junior heifer calf comes from class 101B. That's going to be 2635 from Trice Vander Molen. Your reserve champion junior heifer calf comes out of class 101A. That is 2628 from Kelsey Zimmer. Results for Class 102 of your senior heifer calves within your South Devon Junior Show. First place was entry 2638 from Sierra Steinlicht of Valley Falls, Kansas. That was the only class win within its division, so therefore first place within that class becomes your champion senior heifer calf. Moving about in the ring at this time now is Class 103. This is summer yearling heifers calved May 1st through July 31st of 2024. This is a single entry class. This is entry 2639 from Chase Terry of Winchester, Kansas. This is the only class in its division, so therefore first place within Class 103 will become your champion summer yearling heifer. Results for Class 103 of your South Devon Junior heifers. First place and your champion summer yearling heifer, 2639 from Chase Terry. We will now move in the ring, Class 104. Class 104 will be junior yearling heifers calved January 1st through April 30th of 2024. We'll have 2 entries that will make up this class. Within Class 104, the entries that will make up this will be 2640 from Edward Winters of Zumbro Falls, Minnesota, and 2641 coming from Sierra Steinlicht of Valley Falls, Kansas. Results for Class 104 of junior yearling heifers, second place 2640 from Edward Winters. And your class winner was 2641 from Sierra Steinlicht. We will now make way for Class 104A. This class will be junior yearling heifers calved January 1st through April 30th of 2024. We'll have 3 entries that make up this class. Those entries include 2642 coming from Jace Peterson of Pella, Iowa. 2643 from Addison Killam of Wauseka, Minnesota. And rounding out our class is entry 2644 from Sierra Steinlicht of Valley Falls, Kansas. This is our last class within the division. Results for Class 104A of Junior Yearling Heifers. Third place was 2643 from Addison Kilm. Second place, 2642 from Jace Peterson. And your class winner was 2644 from Sierra Steinlicht. At this time, within your South Devon show, we will now bring back our class winners from classes 104 and 104A. Our judge, Ms. Casey Vollmer, will now select your champion and reserve champion junior yearling heifers. We now welcome back into the ring our Limousin exhibitors. We will have Division 1 of our Limousin females within our MOE Level 2 show. Our judge is Mr. Paul Hill. He hails from Nunn, Colorado. He's a third-generation Charolais breeder who has been involved in the cattle industry his entire life. Paul and his wife are raising 3 boys who are all active in agriculture, and together they own Hill Brothers Livestock, where they focus on developing cattle in the high desert of Colorado that are built to work in the real world. Paul is a Missouri State University graduate, and after college he spent several years at a large cattle operation in Colorado, gaining valuable hands-on experience. Today, he lives and resides in Nunn and serves as the National Director of Sales for Biozyme Incorporated, continuing to work closely with cattle producers across the country. We appreciate Mr. Paul Hill evaluating our Limousin show.
Over here on the Limousin side, what a beautiful day to start on this green turf and the legacy this carries and everything we have to offer in the state of Colorado through the cattle industry. I'm not sure if my cattle even know what to do. I don't think they've seen this much green stuff in their whole lives when my boys get to come show. But I'm going to start off with this young lady, a very broody cow prospect that's really elegant about the way she ties up the top of her shoulder into the tie of her neck, one that's got a lot of natural rib shape and development, one that sits on a better foot and hind leg than our one in second, but nothing to take away from this young lady's heifer, one that's very elegant about her spine, very strong about her spine, probably better laid into her tailhead as well as sitting down on a nice uniform rib, but very nice class to start off today.
Some results to get to from your South Devon show. Ms. Casey Vollmer just selected your champion and reserve champion junior yearling heifers. Your champion was 2641 from Sierra Steinlicht. The reserve champion was 2644, also from Sierra Steinlicht. Within your South Devon show, we will now bring back our division winners, and our judge will select your grand and reserve grand champion South Devon junior heifers. Some results coming in from our Limousin show. Division 1 Limousin female class number 1. Second place was 4941 from Harper Torgensen of Artesian, South Dakota. And class winner was 4943 from Tyler Thomas of Sterling, Colorado. Moving about the ring for your Limousin show ring is now class number 2. This is a single entry class. This is 4944 from Brenna Bartlow of Monticello, Illinois.
Second class of the Limousin show, a really stout, powerful young prospect here that sits down a good bone and foot. One that can get out and travel on them hides, carries herself with a nice undercarriage. One that maybe I'd like to change her head and maybe lengthen her out ever so slightly, but that's getting very critical of a very, very nice brood cow prospect.
Results coming in for class number 2 in your Limousin show. First place, 49.44 from Brenna Bartlow. Moving about the ring now will be class number 3. Within the Limousin show, we'll have 2 entries that will make up class 3. This will be the final class within the division number 1. We'll have entries 49.47 from Redlands Community College. And our last entry would be 49.48 from Tyler Thomas of Sterling, Colorado. Those are your 2 entries that will make up class number 3.
Over here on the Limousin side, I'm going to go ahead and start off with this young lady's more powerful heifer, one that carries more top and mass down into a stronger and stouter hip, one that carries more forerib and flank, one that maybe not as elegant, as longer fronted as the one in the second, but one that I think you got to take the combinations of traits and go ahead and use her to run at the top. An elegant female in second with a nice bone structure as far as foot and claw and pad, but one that she's fighting the halter a little bit today that makes her look a little pinched behind her shoulder and into her loin, but nothing to take away from this young lady's heifer. A very nice second place to go in there.
Results in your South Devon show. Your Grand Champion South Devon Junior Heifer was just crowned. That comes from your Junior Yearling Heifer division. That is 2641 from Sierra Steinlicht. Your Reserve Grand Champion South Devon Junior Heifer also comes from that Junior Yearling Heifer division. That is entry 2644 from Sierra Steinlicht. Over in your Limousin show, results coming in for class number 3. Second place was 49.48 from Tyler Thomas of Sterling, Colorado. And your class winner was 49.47 from Redlands Community College of El Reno, Oklahoma. In the ring at this time now for the Limousin show will be our class winners returning for our judge to select your champion and reserve champion Division 1 Limousin females. For those spectators of the South Devon show, we have paused for pictures at the backdrop. Once our pictures have concluded, we will bring up our showmanship categories. And I believe we're going to start off with our senior showmanship. We're going to start with class number 1 of senior showman.
In this first division, what a nice set of class winners for the numbers we have. And as you can tell, there's a little contrasting types when we get out here, but cattle that are good in their own right. We'll start off with probably the longest heifer, our class winner, probably the longest heifer as far as front end and elegancy. One that probably is as shapely as the hind quarter as anybody, carries herself really nice down her spine. One that maybe I'd like to change a little bit behind her shoulder, and one that when she gets out and tracks ever so lightly, work on those front feet, how she carries herself. Class 2, as we spoke earlier, man, one that you've really got to appreciate the denseness of rib and the capacity and the levelness throughout. One that really could go out and do her job and survive on the short grass, and one that you really got to appreciate how she ties everything together. Then we get into our Class 3. One that very nice female, stout, powerful. One that I'd like to change about her front end, the way she sits on her front ankles and set her knee back ever so slightly and punch that tail head down within her. But one that's another brood cow prospect, and the young man that's behind there, one that's a little greener and maybe not as ready today, but one that definitely has some power and some future within her. So I'll go out and select your champion in reserve. Give these kids all a nice round of applause.
Your Division 1 Limousin female champion comes from class number 2, that is 49-44, from Brenna Bartlow. Your Division 1 Reserve Champion comes out of class number 3, that is 49-47, coming from Redlands Community College. We'll clear out our ring and now make way for our next division. This will be Division 2 of our Limousin females. This will be class number 4 moving about in the ring. We'll have entries 49-49 from Trotter Thomas of Sterling, Colorado. 49-50 comes from Kyle Rule of Stillwater, Oklahoma. 49.51 from Addison Kilm of Wauseka, Minnesota. And 49.42 from Ben Spencer of Gibbon, Nebraska. This is the only class within Division II, so therefore, first and second within class number 4 will become your champion and reserve champion for Division II.
This will be our champion reserve in this division, and one that initiates this class that's damn good. I mean, she's good from her nose to her hooks to her pins down to her ground. The way she carries herself, one that ties a lot of things and checks a lot of boxes for me. So congratulations, young man, on your division. And the young man that goes in second, probably the greenest one in the deal, but one that's got a good foot and bone and can get out and move. Probably not feeling 100% today, but one that I think's got a lot of future for this young man as we get in. So congratulations on your reserve division. Red heifer that comes out, one that is very elegant, one that's nice about her front end, one that's got a nice spine from her forerib to her, or from her shoulder blade to her hooks. One that I'd like to set in her tail head and set that knee back ever so slightly, but a lot of future in that one. And then we get into kind of our trouble one for me, probably a brood cow prospect comparably to the ones in front of her, but one that was really fighting the halter and carrying herself not as well as she can. This is the first time she's set up today, but as we talk about her, one that's stout and powerful about her top, one that's got a nice dense rib shape, but one that I'd like her just to get out a little better and travel ever so slightly.
Results for your Division II of Limousin female class number 4. Fourth place, 49.50 from Kyle Rule. Third place, 49.51 from Addison Kill. Second place and your reserve champion Division II Limousin female was 49.49 from Trotter Thomas. And your champion and first place within Division II is entry 49.42 from Ben Spencer. We will now move into division number 3 within our Limousin show. This will be class number 5 in the ring. Single entry in this class, 49.52 from Alyssa Slimmer. Over in our South Devon show ring, we have our senior showmanship class number 1.
Young lady brings an awful good single entry in here. One that you got to start at the ground. One that's got a good fit shape. One that carries herself very good off her front end. Gets out and strides, very athletic, but yet doesn't give up the power and the rib and the other things that we need to make a real world cow. So very, very nice single entry for this young lady here.
Results for class number 5 on the Limousin show. First place, 49.52 from Alyssa Slimmer. We'll now make way for class number 6. Class 6 will have entries 49.53 from Gabriel Miner of Stratford, Missouri, and 49.54 from Savannah Larson of Interlochen, Florida. These are the 2 entries that make up class number 6. Class number 6 will be the last class within Division 3. So as mentioned within our South Devon show ring, this is our senior showmanship. This is class 1 of 2. Our judge, Casey Vollmer, will select our top individuals from our senior showmanship class number 1, and she will then bring back those individuals against the competition that she will select from class number 2. Class 1 will have entries from Joseph Hanfler, Paige Fellbaum, Kate Barney, Lindsay Strach, Carly McCracken, Tibbet Brown, Jillian Kniep, and Sierra Steinlicht.
First and foremost, the parents that got these young individuals into the show ring, kudos to you. I've got 3 young showmen, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of nerves to get them in here. The young lady from Florida is going to win the class on pure structure. One that gets out and moves better. She holds her head more upright, sets better on a set to her shoulder. One that's got plenty of rib and carries herself very elegantly down her spine. So that's our class winner on this. Young man from Stratford, Missouri, I had to tell him I was raised in Fairgrove, which is about 10 miles from where he's from. So he's doing an excellent job for a 7-year-old. And one that is a true brood cow prospect that's going to do a lot of good for this young man in the future. One that you could really genetically breed on and carry everything out for him. So congratulations, young man.
Results for Class 6 in your Division 3 of Limousin females. Second place, 49.53 from Gabriel Miner of Stratford, Missouri. And your class winner was 49.54 from Savannah Larson of Interlochen, Florida. We'll now bring back our class winners from classes 5 and 6. Our judge, Mr. Paul Hill, will select your champion and reserve champion Division 3 Limousin females.
As we get out here in this division, as I talked about these in class, this heifer out of the class is one that from the ground up is one you really got to appreciate. Her foot size, her foot depth, her heel depth, her toe strength, the way she carries her spine, the way she walks. Gets out ever so fluently. One that's dense in her rib shape, plenty of power, very smooth and elegant about her hip. So very nice individual. And then the young lady that comes out. As we talked about those two class winners, she won as far as structure as well. One that's a little more elegant than our second place. But as I talked about the young man behind there, one that definitely a brood cow prospect that could survive in southwest Missouri and live on fescue. So nothing taken away from that young man. I'm going to go ahead and use this young lady, and they're your first class for champion. Young lady out of the second class for reserve. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Your Division III Limousin female champion comes from class number 5. That's Alyssa Slimmer. The reserve champion comes from class number 6. That is 4954 from Savannah Larson. We'll now make way for Division number 4 of our Limousin females. We'll have one class that will make up Division 4. That'll be class number 7. Class number 7 will have entries 4955 from Allie Sorensen of Spanish Fork, Utah. This class number 7 is the only class within the Division 4, so therefore first place within this class will become your division champion.
Another excellent individual to come in here. Bred heifer that is starting to get a little of gestational wobbles as her spine and her structure kind of loosens up, getting ready for calving. One that you really got to appreciate as a brood cow. One that's stout, powerful, good shape, good dimension, very level from forerib to flank. One, like I said earlier, is starting to get a little bit of the gestational wobbles. One that's tracking outside of herself ever so slightly, but one that's making a nice little udder and going to be a very nice uniform teat placement in length. So very nice little brood cow prospect to go in here individually.
Results for your Division 4 of Limousin females. First place, class number 7, 4955 from Allie Sorensen of Spanish Fork, Utah. She also becomes your Division 4 champion. We will now clear out our ring and make up way for our next division, which would be Division 5 of Limousin females. Up first would be class number 8 within Division 5. Division 5 will have 2 entries, 4957 from Redlands Community College of El Reno, Oklahoma, and 4959 will come way of Minor Limousin of Stratford, Missouri. Over within your South Devon show ring, we have our second and final class of senior showmen. Within class number 2, we will have entries from Julie Damon, Edward Winters, Macy Hansen, Brady Mitchell, Lauren Zabel, Jace Peterson, Chase Terry, Megan Feldbaum, and Addie Kilm.
To contradicting types here. I'm going to go ahead and use power over performance. The big, stout, powerful one that is powerful from the ground up. One that's got more depth of rib. Also, I will grant she is a little more deeper in calf and showing more udder. Man, one I'd like to change a little bit as she gets into late gestation. She's getting down in her loin and up at her tail head. But one that you got to really appreciate the power and performance and how she's going to make a nice, powerful cow. The elegant heifer, a little more refined, that comes into second. One to take nothing away from. One that probably doesn't sit down on as big a set of foot, bone, structure. One that's probably more elegant and better about her spine, but also one that I'd like to change her about her hip and raise her up ever so slightly from hooks to pins.
Results coming in for class number 8 of your Division 5 Limousine females. Second place, 4957 from Redlands Community College. And your class winner was 4959 from Minor Limousin of Stratford, Missouri. Making their way in the ring at this time now for your limousine show is class number 9. This is a single entry class, 4960 from Aaliyah Wick.
Another single entry, one that sits down with a lot of foot and dimension and carries herself with adequate as she gets out and moves. Maybe one I'd like to see a little farther in calf, but one you really got to appreciate her stifle and how she comes up through that stifle into the hooks and pins and carries herself from forerib to flank. And one that I'd like to ever so slightly fix behind her shoulders and maybe blow her apart a little bit more and be a little more robust about the forerib, but taking nothing away from this big bone, stout, powerful one, single entry.
Results for class number 9 within your Division 5 limousine show. First place, 4960 from Aaliyah Wick. We'll now make way for class number 10. Class number 10 will have a single entry, 4963 from Savannah Larson of Interlachen, Florida. This is our last class within Division 5.
Lady brings out another powerful footed one that carries her spine very nicely as far as gestation, where she's sitting in. One that travels very elegantly off of her hind foot and tracks very well, has a nice set into her pastern. One that's showing a nice udder development. One that I'd like to change once again, maybe set her up into her loin and I understand that she's far in calf, but one that's an extremely stout, powerful, elegant brood cow prospect.
Results for class number 10 of Division 5 Limousine Females. First place, 4963 from Savannah Larson of Interlachen, Florida. We'll now take the time to bring back our class winners for Division 5. Our judge, Mr. Paul Hill, will select your champion and reserve champions.
We get out here at our last division of the Limousin show. As I talked about this one in class, a big, powerful, stout one that starts from the ground up. One that's big across her back, one that's big at the floor, one that carries an adequate set of rib. Maybe one I'd like to set her chest back into her, free her up off her front end, but one that you really got to appreciate her power and dimension and mass. Young lady out of the second one, another elegant type female that probably sets better into her chest, but probably not as long fronted. One that maybe doesn't have the power, dimension, and probably not true as far into the calf as I like her to see, but one that you really got to appreciate. Then we get into the combination female in our last one, one that kind of ties everything together in a nice little package, one that is dense in her rib shape, nice across her front end, maybe change her a little bit at the top side of her neck, but one you got to appreciate into her hooks, into her pins, and very elegant, nice teat placement and making a nice little udder. The second place out of the first class, like I said, maybe a little more refined, daintier type, but one that's going to make a nice little cow prospect for that young lady. I'm going to go ahead and look at them one more time and pick your champion reserve.
Your Division 5 Limousin female champion comes out of that third class. That is Class 10. That is entry 4963 from Savannah Larson of Interlochen, Florida. Your Division 5 Limousin female reserve champion comes from Class 8. That is entry 4959 from Minor Limousin of Stratford, Missouri. Within our Limousin show, we will now have all of our division champions return back for Mr. Paul Hill to select your grand champion and reserve grand champion females. So walking about the ring will be our division champions within the Limousin Open Show. From your first division, your champion, 4944 from Brenna Bartlow. The reserve being 4947 from Redlands Community College. From your second division, entry 4942, your champion from Ben Spencer. The reserve being 4949 from Trotter Thomas. From your third division, your champion, 4952 from Alyssa Slimmer. The reserve being from 4954 of Savannah Larson. From your fourth division, your champion, 4955 from Allie Sorensen. From your fifth division, your champion, 4963 from Savannah Larson. And your reserve champion being 4959 from Minor Limousin. Those are your division champions for your judge to select his grand and reserve grand champion females.
Give these Limousin exhibitors a round of applause. This breed is the best it's ever been, and it's a shame that there's not more of them, because this is an amazing lineup, no more than we had. I'm not going to go through and talk these all individually. If you all figured out I speak broken English at best, it's my Ozark Hillbilly genetics, but I hope you could follow what I was trying to explain myself. As mentioned earlier, this is sacred ground. This is the new generation. This is a lovely facility and some new memories to be made. Memories of me as I met my wife here. I got 3 boys sitting up there. They were raised in these yards. They were raised around cow pens, and they were raised in a barn. But as I go out here, I'm going to pick the 2, I think, in my eyes. I think there's 3 individuals out here that are very unique. They maybe not match up, but ones that I think are going to go out and work in the real world. I'm going to go out and select your champion in reserve. Congratulations to all exhibitors. I'm ready to go see some bulls, so I'll pick your champion in reserve, and we'll get some pictures.
Your grand champion female comes out of your second division. That is going to be 49-42 from Ben Spencer. Your reserve grand champion female comes from your third division. That is 49-52 from Alyssa Slimmer. Congratulations to our senior showmanship. Your champion senior showman was Lauren Zabel. Your reserve champion was Carly McCracken. We'll now move right into our junior showmanship. We will have one class of junior showmen. We'll have in this class Jane Damon, Jenna Damon, Owen Kilm, Trice Vander Molen, and Kelsey Zimmer. Those will be your 5 entries that will make up your class of junior showmanship. We welcome back our Limousin exhibitors and spectators. We'll now start off with our Division 1 of Limousin Bulls within our bull show. Our judge once again is Mr. Paul Hill. We're going to start off with class number 11. Class number 11 is the only class within Division 1. Class 11 will have entries 4964 from Harper Torgensen of Artesian, South Dakota, and 4965 from Reynolds Land and Cattle of Sanford, Colorado. Once again, first and second within class number 11 will become your champion and reserve champion Division 1 Limousin Bulls.
On the Limousin side, nice class to start. I'm going to go with a little more powerful, rugged, more dense-made bull. Both these bulls have some structural issues, so I just kind of put those out of the way. But I made my decision to use the one that's bigger and stouter across his back, cleaner about his sheath, maybe has some troubles off that front end, but one that you got to appreciate his mass and power and everything he ties into. As we get into our second place, our classier made, showier type bull, one that you got to appreciate his depth of rib, his dimension, probably a little deeper, maybe not as long-bodied, but one that I'd like to clean up his sheath. He slipped a little bit out here when he first come out, so it really hindered his ankles ever so slightly, and he gets relaxed in there, he does it, but very nice class to start off the bull show.
Results for class number 11. Second place, reserve champion Division 1 Limousin Bull is 4964 from Harper Torgensen from Artesian, South Dakota. First place in class 11 and your champion Division 1 Limousin Bull is 4965 from Reynolds Land and Cattle of Sanford, Colorado. We'll now make way for Division 2 of Limousin Bulls. We'll have in the ring at this time now class number 12. Class 12 will have 2 entries. We'll have entries 4966 from Simon's Brothers Limousin of Amherst, South Dakota, and 4967 from Spring Creek's Cattle Company of Wisconsin. And our last entry was a scratch for those of you following along in the program. This will be the first class of 2 classes within the division.
Nice class to start off, or second class today. I'm going to go ahead and use the bull in first, one that I think smoother about the way he's made from forerib to flank, one that's smoother about his quarter, one that is larger in his testicle development, one that's a little longer and extended about his front end, one that I'd like to change about his front end, how he moves away, and taking nothing away from this bull. This bull is sounder off his front end, probably a little bit more quarter and stifle comparably to our class winner, but with that hinders him the way he gets out and moves off his hind feet.
Results for Division II Class 12 for your Limousin Bulls. Second place was 49.66 from Simon Bros Limousin. And your class winner was 49.67 coming from Spring Creek's Cattle Company. Now making into the ring is Class 13. Class 13, single entry, 49.69 from Kessler Collins of Flanagan, Illinois. This is our last class within Division II.
Extremely classy, smooth-made sound bull that has a right to have some more competition, but I definitely figure he could defend off more competition. One that's very smooth about his spine, one that carries with good dimension, sets down on a good circumference of bone and foot, and I like his claw and dimension, adequate in his testicle size. One that you really got to appreciate when he gets out and moves, and the total package he brings to the ring today.
Results for Class 13 of Division II Limousin Bulls. First place, 49.69 from Kessler Collins. At this time, within our Limousin show, we will bring back our class winners from Division II, and our Judge Paul Hill will select your champion and reserve champion, Division II Limousin Bulls. Coming back from Class 12 would be 49.67 from Spring Creek's Cattle Company, and coming back from Class 13, 49.69 from Kessler Collins.
As we get out in this division, nothing to take away from the class winner, but out of our first class in this division. But I think there's an individual that hits a lot of boxes for me today. And if you can't see that, what I've tried to been doing, then I'm not doing my job. But I think this individual is very, very tough to beat in this division. So congratulations to this young lady right here.
Your Division II champion from the Limousin Bulls comes out of Class 13. That is 49.69 from Kessler Collins. And your reserve champion comes via the way of Class 12. That is entry 49.67 from Spring Creek's Cattle Company. We will now make way for Division IV of our Limousin Bulls. We will have in this class, this is Class 14, 2 entries that will make it up. Just one entry. This will be 49.70 from Colt Parkinson of Levelland, Texas.
Very good single entry, one that can get out and cruise, very extended but still rugged and manly, and carries a lot of that bull power and dimension. One that sets down on good feet, adequate in his testicle development. One that's a very good individual and deserves some more competition.
Results for Division 4 Limousine Bull Class 14, first place, 49.70 from Colt Parkinson. We'll clear out our ring and now bring up Class 15. Class 15 will have a single entry within it. It'll be entry 49.71 from Torgenson Farms of Artesian, South Dakota. This is our last class within Division 4.
Over here on the Limousin side, a big, rugged, stout, powerful one, big top, big dimension. One that I'd like to change the way he comes off his front end. He gets a little bold and pigeon-toed for me, but nothing taken away from a good bull that's big and stout across his top, into his loin. Carries into a nice quarter. It has a nice testicle development. One you appreciate his hind feet. Very, very nice individual.
Results from your junior showmanship in your South Devon show. Fifth place was Trice Vandermolen. Fourth place, Kelsey Zimmer. Third place, Owen Kilm. Your reserve champion junior showman was Jenna Damon. And your champion junior showman was Jane Damon. Congratulations to all of our exhibitors within our South Devon show. A wonderful show and a job well done to those exhibitors, and we appreciate everybody joining us online at Ringside Live. And that does conclude our South Devon show for the 2026 National Western Stock Show. Some results to get to over here in your Limousine show. Your Class 15 winner was entry 4971 from Torgenson Farms. We now have in the ring at this time our class winners from 14 and 15, and our judge will now select your Division 4 champion and reserve champion Limousine Bulls.
Not big on numbers, but big on quality. I think there's an individual that checks more boxes than the other one for me, but not to take anything away from the other bull. Young man, you're going to be champion. Young lady, you're going to be reserve.
Your Division 4 champion Limousine Bull comes from Class 14. That is 4970 from Colt Parkinson. Your reserve champion comes out of Class 15. That is 4971 from Torgerson Farms. We'll clear out our ring and make way now for our next division. We'll move on to Division 5 of Limousin Bulls. We'll start off with Class 16. As promised, moving about in the ring now is Class 16 of your Division 5 Limousin Bulls. We have in this class 3 entries. Those entries include 4972 from Oppenheim Limousin of Mound City, South Dakota. Also Edwards Land and Cattle of Beulah, North Carolina. We also have entry 4973 from Running Creek Ranch of Elizabeth, Colorado. And 4974 from J. Yorga Farms Limited of Flintoff, Saskatchewan, Canada. We appreciate our neighbors from the north making the trek all the way down here to the stock show. Those are your 3 entries that will make up Class 16. This is our first of 2 classes within Division 5.
Nice set of bulls over on the Limousin side. One that is really smooth. He's smooth how he cruises. He's smooth about his neck. He's smooth down his spine. He's smooth in dimension. One that checks a lot of boxes for me, and for me an easy class winner. So congratulations. When we get into these next 2, there's some give and take for me. Nothing to take away from the black bull, but I think the red bull holds his spine together, carries himself a little better, maybe a little bit of the attitude and disposition as we get onto this green turf, but a red bull that is stout and powerful and a lot of shape and dimension. One that I'd like to change how he sets up on his pasterns and carries himself, and set his knee back and his shoulder back ever so slightly, but nice red bull there. As we get into the black bull, one that as he's relaxing, he's moving better, but one that once again I'd like to change his shoulder structure. I'd like to change him behind his heart and power him up more into that, but a very, very nice nice class of bulls.
Results coming in for Class 16 of Division 5 Limousin Bulls. Third place, 4973 from Running Creek Ranch of Elizabeth, Colorado. Second place was 4974 from J. Yorga Farms Limited of Flintoff, Canada. And your class winner was 4972, coming from Oppenheim Limousin of Mound City, South Dakota, as well as Edwards Land and Cattle of Beulah, North Carolina. We'll move on to Class 17. Class 17 will have a single entry. This will be entry 4976. This comes from Tub Mill Creek Farms of New Florence, Pennsylvania, as well as Oshner Limousin of Kersey, Colorado.
Bull comes out as a single entry. You want to talk about a beef bull? This is a beef bull. This is one that's got a lot of power and a lot of shape, a lot of dimension, big feet, big testicle, one that carries himself very nice on the move. Maybe one that getting a little critical, but maybe one I can extend a little bit and flex up from the front end and extend him, but one that you really got to appreciate a lot of things. I mean, he's big-backed, he's good testicle, good-footed, sound, just a good overall beef bull.
Results for Class 17. First place, 4976 from Tub Mill Creek Farms of New Florence, Pennsylvania, and Oshner Limousin of Kersey, Colorado. We'll now, at this time, bring back our class winners from Classes 16 and 17. Our Judge Paul Hill will select your champion and reserve champion Division 5 Limousin bulls.
Limousin breeders, if this division don't make you excited, I don't know what does. I didn't think I'd want an associate, but I'd really like to tag in my wife right now. This first class winner, these are two different types of bulls, and I'm going to do my damnedest to be able to explain these. This is an elegant made bull, but yet still masculine. He's very good about his spine. He's level. He's got a good foot. He travels slightly better than the big bull. I'm giving grace to a big bull, but one that's stylish, carries himself smooth, nice at his testicle, maybe just shift him ever so slightly, but a very, very nice beef bull. As we get into our old bull, like I said, this is a beef bull. I mean, this one's going to make a difference in the real world. One that is going to bring some pounds to the rail, and one that's good out of his hip. He's stout. He's big-footed. One that's laboring a little bit. I think it's a little bit of laziness, but a big, powerful, stout individual here. Maybe one that's not as elegant and extended up through his front 1/3, but if you're going to have that much meat, muscle, pounds of performance, you ain't going to be the prettiest. So this is a very hard decision for me. You can disagree with me, but I'm going to go out there and pick the one that would probably fit our program the best.
Your Division 5 champion bull comes from your first class. That is Class 16. That comes from 4972 of Oppenheim Limousin of Mound City, South Dakota, and Edwards Landed Cattle. The reserve champion comes from Class 17. That is 4976 from Tub Mill Creek Farms and Oshner Limousin. At this time, within our limousine show, we will now bring back all of our division winners, and our judge will select your grand and reserve grand champion bulls.
How about this? This is a heck of a bull show over here. Give your own selves a congratulations. This is proof that commercial cattlemen, you're walking around here, there's a place for these bulls in the industry, and we need to find them and make this happen. This is an extremely good lineup of bulls. I thought them heifers were good, but this one's way good. Way good. Our first division, like I said, a dense bull that's very stout across his top, one that I'd like to change him in his structure, one that clean him up about his chest and make him move ever so slightly better. Our division 2, like I said, checks a lot of boxes. That's a good beef bull. Very good and elegant across his top, carries his spine well. One that I'd like to set his knee back a little bit. As he gets a little tired, you can see it elevate and extend up into that shoulder. We talked about the extremely long spine bull in Division 3, one that's very sound, has a good foot, one that maybe I'd like to power him up in his hip, clean him up about his chest, but a lot of good things this bull brings to the table. Division 4, like I said, he's one that checks a lot of boxes. He's super sound, he's raw, he's green, but he's still got mass, dimension, and a lot of good things about him. He's very good up in front of his front end. He carries down to a good hoof. He has adequate testicle size. He's clean about his sheath. He's good from forerib to flank. So we're going to go out here. I do think there's another bull in contention for reserve, but I'm going to go out and select your champion for me, the one that checks the boxes for me. So congratulations. Give yourselves a good round of applause. Appreciate you having me.
Your grand champion bull comes from your 4th division, that is 4972, coming from Oppenheim, Limousin, and Edwards Landed Cattle.
lot of you don't know this, but this breed owes a lot to me. This breed made me who I am. It helped me ask my wife, or her ask me out on a date. But I would like to say the saddest thing that I'm going to miss today is there's probably going to be a guy from Chatty, Oklahoma, that is not going to bitch at me and tell me what I did wrong. So kudos to Ken and his family. I appreciate this breed. I appreciate you exhibitors. Thank you for having me. Thank you to my family. I'll go pick your reserve, and thanks for having me.
Your reserve grand champion comes from your 4th division. That is 4976 from Ochsner Limousin and Tub Mill Creek Farms. Congratulations to our grand and reserve grand champion, Limousin Bulls. Well, congratulations to all of our Limousin exhibitors. That does conclude our show. I believe our association will announce their premier exhibitors and premier breeders shortly. I believe that might be done in the barns since all the exhibitors would be back there. So we do want to thank everybody for joining us here for the National Western Stock Show for January 12th here in the wonderful, beautiful CoBank Arena, the brand new building here at the Sue Anschutz Rogers Livestock Event Center. We will get our ring torn down and we'll get started for the Citizens of the West ceremony that will take here shortly. So this does conclude all of our cattle shows here today. We will be back tomorrow with some cattle shows starting promptly right around 8 o'clock. So we appreciate it, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.